to a Slim Jim.
Back here on NFL Live, it doesn't happen often, guys. In fact, I was 3 back in 2008 when the Packers missed the playoffs. Atlanta eliminated Green Bay from playoff contention in their win last night. The 8-year postseason run was their longest streak in Packers history. With that, let's welcome in our Packers reporter, Rob Domofsky. Rob, the Packers are not going to the postseason. So Rodgers, we know he just got back from injury. So what's the plans here for A-Rod?
Well, Diana, we should know here at about 3:30 local time when Mike McCarthy is expected to announce whether he'll start Brett Hundley or Aaron Rodgers here on Saturday night at Lambeau Field against the Vikings. Outside the building, the feeling is that why play Rodgers with nothing to play for since they're out of the playoffs? Why risk the collarbone, anything happening? He played, obviously, last Sunday in Carolina and couldn't lead the Packers back to victory. Looked a little rusty with 3 interceptions. Also made some brilliant plays. But around the locker room today, there didn't seem to be a real sense of anyone knowing exactly what's going to happen. The Packers are going into a team meeting at the top of this hour where McCarthy is expected to tell them. But I can tell you this, Diana, in that locker room, it felt like a last day of the season, kind of a locker room clean-out feeling. But they have 2 games to go, and receiver Randall Cobb said, this is not normal around here.
Yeah, all the guys here on the desk, they know that feeling and what that will most likely mean, but it remains to be seen what the decision will be if Rodgers will get the start. So let's bring in a man here who knows a little bit something about running a team, Bill Polian. So Bill, what would you do right now in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers?
Well, first thing I'd do would be talk to the doctor. Dr. McKenzie happens to be their team physician. And I would say, what are the risk and the odds of re-injury here? And if Dr. McKenzie said it's 50.1 for re-injury and 49.9 against re-injury, he would sit. Because there's no point in risking the franchise in a game that really isn't going to do anything for you in the standings.
Why do you need those percentages, though? Why would you just not play him? What's the point of even taking that risk at all? Well,
If he's healthy enough to play with no risk, then, you know, there are other things that come into play here. Your own personal pride. He's going to want to play, obviously. You want to let him finish on a high note if he can. All of those things come into play. Maybe knocking a division opponent out of a playoff spot or something like that. That comes into play. But you don't do that at risk of injuring a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who is the franchise.
Tim, as a former quarterback, if you're Aaron Rodgers, what are you thinking?
Well, he's going to want to play. I don't think there's any question that he'll want to play. He's a competitor. Most players like playing. To Bill's, I agree with Bill, though. I think if you're at further risk of re-injury because you're not totally healed, which apparently is the case with his collarbone, then I think you rest him. But if he's 100% healthy, I think it's a dangerous slope to go down for all the reasons Bill mentioned, and also the fact that you're not going to rest everybody. There are other guys. Jordy Nelson is a very accomplished player that's had a major injury before. And everyone understands that Aaron's probably the most important guy on the team. They all understand that, but they all have egos and they're all competitive as well. I think we have to remember it's a team sport, and there is something to be said for guys that are in the fight with you no matter what. And that goes a long way.
Yeah, idealistically, I couldn't agree with you more. I really couldn't, because you want to be out there with your brothers. You just do. But you're talking about, you know, as Bill alluded to, the franchise, his throwing shoulder, his moneymaker, the thing that makes him special. That's what you're talking about protecting. And I think there's a big difference between being healthy enough to play and being healthy. Healthy enough to play, there's a lot of players who are healthy enough to play who aren't 100%. And if there's any risk at all, well, there has to, I mean, I don't know how there could not be any risk of him not getting hurt again because of how fast he came back and how significant the injury was, how much hardware he has in his shoulder right now. And, I mean, look, I would be hard-pressed, and I understand your point, Tim, because now you're starting to talk about there's a lot of other players who are beat up and banged up who aren't going to be 100%. How do you take everybody out of the game? But we all know that quarterbacks are special. Even players on the football team know that they're special. And I don't think anyone would sit there and feel slighted if Aaron Rodgers sat down and didn't play anymore and they would go, but what about me?
Yeah, we saw what happened when he wasn't there.
But if Seattle's out of it week 17, Russell Wilson's going to play. And he should. And I think that everyone would play him.
Right. But if he had a...
Not at the risk of health.
Correct.
That's the biggest issue. And there's an added benefit here. Hundley who was steadily improving during his time in the lineup, gets to play, if that's the case, against two top-flight opponents who have a lot to play for. That'll tell him a lot about Hundley, and it'll give him some very valuable experience.
All right, so from a place where the party's over, essentially, to Yo Soy Fiesta, Rob Gronkowski, we know he lost his composure 3 weeks ago when he delivered a late hit on cornerback Tre'Davious White that, of course, enraged some Bills players, and you may recall, too, in that aftermath, White sent a text message to our Ryan Clark that said, the whole hood want him, meaning some retaliation there. Here's Tom Brady on WEEI today.
You do what you can inside the rules of the game. And like I said, I've been in football for a long time. So, I mean, it was an unfortunate situation that happened and revenge and all that. I mean, I've never approached the game like that. I'll just speak for myself. You know, I'll get revenge against a player that's done so. Obviously, I can't do anything anyway, you know, in terms of being physical on the field. But it's going to be a good game. They're a good team. I think it's just going to be a football game and two hard-nosed teams and division game. And it's important for us. It's important for them. And that makes for a good matchup.
All right, just a few minutes ago, our Mike Rodak tweeted out this Bills cornerback Tre'Davious White to SiriusXM NFL Radio about Rob Gronkowski, saying, as I had time to think about it, I knew he wasn't that type of player. We just honed in and moved on from it. But I get the film Sunday, and the best way that I can handle that situation and just try to go in there and just get a big old W in their stadium and try to help our playoff chances. So, yeah, I'm not a guy who's going to try to do a cheap shot after the whistle. Nothing. I'm going to play the game the way it's supposed to be played, respect the game, and just like I said, I'm going to go in there, and winning would be the best revenge. So it sounds like they have no plans of retaliations. But from Bill Belichick's view here, would you be concerned about playing Rob Gronkowski in that fear that maybe the Bills are going to retaliate?
No, because, number one, you got to play. There's still something to play for the Patriots. Everything's not locked up at this point. They're in the driver's seat, but they still have to win. So that takes precedence. Secondly, that statement was written by the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, and the player got the message, clearly.
Yeah, no, you read between the lines there for us. That's why you're here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Saying it and doing it may be two different things, correct?
Yeah.
I mean,
Is this real, though? Like, what are the chances of them retaliating this weekend?
So I think guys are mad. I mean, this is as bad of a cheap shot as we've seen this year. I mean, it really was. Between this and the Mike Evans one, I mean, it's bad. And we're talking about it. We're not the only ones that are going to be talking about it leading up to this game. And so I think guys can say the right thing. I think you have angry Buffalo Bills secondary players, especially after the hit, when they were widely criticized for not coming to the defense of Tre'Davious White and doing something about it right when it happened. So, look, I can't predict the future on it, but if I were Rob Gronkowski, I would make sure I seek out the player beforehand and apologize to him personally. And I think what I would, if he hasn't done that already, and I would try to protect myself.
The game is much different now. Okay, you know they're trying to legislate a lot of the stuff out of the game in between the white lines as far as brutal, revenge-oriented, dangerous types of shots, okay? But the truth of the matter, without a doubt, is the fact that, look, the defensive players from the Buffalo Bills will be trying to put their stamp on Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Within the rules, there's no question they will be trying to. It will not be, there will be jawing after plays. There will be pushing. There will be a lot of not suitable for ESPN type of languages football game. You can bet.
And no pats on the back.
That's right. I mean, you can best believe that. If this was the 90s, the 2000s, they would be going after Rob. There's no question, because it is flat out an out of character, dirty football play, what he did. And people would be trying to make sure he knows that you don't do that. But would you be worried about it? As Bill said, no, you got to play the game. Look, you did it. You're going to protect yourself. This is the game. That's why you play football. That's why you're a pro.
The league missed the boat by not giving him 2 games. They should have.
Yep.
And that would have ameliorated, I think, a lot of the bad feeling in Buffalo. But if I were Rob Gronkowski, I'd do exactly what Matt said. I'd go apologize before the game, and then I'd keep my head on a swivel.
You think that 1-game suspension poured a little gas on what was already
absolutely.
quite a big flame there?
Absolutely.
It'll be a fun game. If you like competition, like John, you like tension, it'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Tom Brady, 27-3 in his career against the Bills. That's the most wins by a starting quarterback over a single opponent. in the Super Bowl era. Go try to
pretty
get
good.
that W, White.